Welcome to the session 38, that is Dimensions of New Industrial Policy 1991 and their impact on business. The learning objective of this study is to know the various dimensions of New Industrial Policy 1991. After studying this session, the students will be able to understand the various dimensions of new industrial policy and their impact on business will be cleared. First, we discuss about the various dimensions and their impact. The government has decided to take series of initiatives in respect of the policies relating to the following areas. First one is industrial licensing. Next is foreign investment, foreign technology agreements, public sector policy and MRTP acts. A package for the small and teeny sectors of industry is being announced separately. First, industrial licensing policy. Industrial licensing is governed by the Industrial Development and Regulation Act 1951. Over the years, keeping in view the changing industrial scenes in the country, the policy has undergone modifications. Industrial licensing policy and procedures have also been liberalized from time to time. Full realization of the industrial potential of countries call for a continuation of this process change. In order to achieve the objectives of this strategy for the industrial sector for 1990 and beyond, it is necessary to make a number of changes in the system of industrial approvals. Major policy initiatives and procedural reforms are called for in order to achieve, encourage and active encouragement and assist Indian entrepreneurs to exploit and meet the emerging domestic and global opportunities and challenges. The bedrock of any such package of measures must be to let the entrepreneurs make investment decisions on the basis of their own commercial judgment. Attainment of technological dynamism and international competitiveness request that enterprises must be enabled to swiftly respond too fast to changing external conditions that have become characteristics of today's industrial world. Government policies and procedures must be geared to assist entrepreneurs in their efforts. This can be done only if the role played by the government were to be changed from that of only exercising control to one of providing help and guidance by making essential procedures fully transparent and by eliminating delays. The winds of change have been with us for some time. The industrial licensing system has been gradually moving anyway from the concept of capacity licensing. The system of reservation for public sector undertaking has been evolving to the ethos of greater flexibility, and private sector enterprises has been gradually allowed to enter into many of these areas on a case by case basis. Further inputs must be provided to these changes, which alone can push this country towards the attainment of its entrepreneurial and industrial potential. This calls for bold and imaginative decisions designed to remove restraints on capacity creation while at the same time encouraging that overriding national interest are not jeopardized. Next intervention is foreign investment. While freeing the Indian industry from official controls, opportunities for promoting foreign investment in India should also be fully exploited. In view of this significant development of India's industrial economy in the last 60 years, the general reliance size and level of sophistication achieved and the significant changes that have also taken place in the world industrial economy. The relationship between domestic and foreign industry needs to be much more dynamic than it has been in the past in terms of both technology and investment. Foreign investment would bring attendant advantage of technology transfer, making expertise, introduction of modern managerial techniques, and new possibilities for the promotion of exports. This is particularly necessary in the changing global scenario of industrial and economic cooperation, marked by mobility of capital. The government will therefore welcome foreign investment which is in the interest of country's industrial development. Promotion of the exports of Indian products calls for a systematic exploitation of world market possible only through initiative and highly professional marketing activities. To the extent that expertise of this nature is not well developed so far in India government, Indian government will encourage foreign trading companies to assist us in our export activities. Attraction of substantial investment and access of high technology of an closely held and to world market involve interaction with some of the world's largest international manufacturing and marketing firms. The government will appoint a special board to negotiate with such firm so that We can engage in purposive negotiation with such large firms and provide the avenues for large investment in the development of industries and technology in the national interest. Next is impact of foreign technology agreements. There is a great need for promoting an industrial environment where the acquisition of technological capability receive priority. In the fact changing world, the technology relationship between the supplier and the users of the technology must be continuous basis. Such a relationship becomes difficult to achieve when the approval process includes a necessary governmental interference on a case-to-case basis involving endemic delays and fostering uncertainties. The Indian entrepreneur has now come of age so that he was no longer need such bureaucratic clearance for his commercial technology relationships with foreign technology suppliers. Indian industry can scarcely be competitive with the rest of the world if it is to operate within such a regulatory environment. With a view to injecting the desired level of technological dynamism in the Indian industry, the government will provide automatic approval for technology agreement related to high priority industries with specified parameters. Similar facilities will be available for the other industries as well as if such agreements do not require the expenditure of free foreign exchange. Indian companies will be free to negotiate the terms to technology transfer with their foreign counterparts according to their own commercial judgment. The predictability and independence of action that is this measure is providing to the Indian industry will induce them to develop indigenous competence for the efficient absorption of the foreign technology. Greater competitive pressure will be also induce our industry to invest much more in research and development than they have been doing in the past. In order to help this process, the hiring of foreign technicians and foreign testing of endogenous labs developed technologies with will also not require prior clearance as prescribed so far. Individually or as part of industrial investment approvals are very necessitized. Next is public sector policy reforms. Public sector policy reforms in the in this sector, reforms in the public sector were aimed at enhancing efficiency of competitiveness of the sector. The government identified strategic and priority areas for the public sector to concentrate. Similarly, Loss-making PSUs, public sector undertakings, were sold to the private sector. The government has adopted disinvestment policy for the restructuring of the public sector in the country. At the same time, autonomy has been given to public sector undertaking boards for efficient functioning. Prior to 1991 industrial policy, the public sector witnessed a number of bottlenecks, namely insufficient growth productivity, bad management, there was no technological upgradation, and not much attention was given to R&D department. Also, this sector saw low returns on the capital invested. Under this policy, the government aimed at improving the enterprises which were being operated in reserved areas or may be located in high priority areas or were making profits. Such firms were given a better hold on the management authority through the specific memoranda of understanding designed for the same, and a part of government holding in these enterprises were invested in the form of mutual funds, general public, financial institutions, workers, and there came to private enterprises too. As a result, there was an extended discipline in the performance of public sector. The priority areas here were the infrastructure, goods and services, the exploitation and exploration of oil and mineral resources, technology advancement in areas which promises long-term development. These are all the public sector initiatives which are taken by the new industrial policy 1991. Next is monopolies and restrictive trade practices, MRTP Act. According to the Monopolies Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969, all big companies and large businesses houses which had asset of rupees 100 crores or more according to the 1985 amendment to the act were required to obtain clearance from the MRTP Commission for setting up any new industrial unit because such companies were allowed to invest only in some selected industries. Thus, besides obtaining a license, they were also required to get MRTP clearance. This was a big impediment for industrial development as the big businesses firms which had the resources for development could not grow and diversify their activities. Thus, the Industrial Policy 1991 has put these industries on par with others by abolishing those provisions of MRTP Act which mediate mandatory for the large industrial houses to seek prior clearance from MRTP Commission for their new projects. Under the amended Act, the MRTP Commission will concern itself only with the control of monopolies and restrictive trade practices that are unfair and restrict competition to the determinant of consumers' interest. No prior approval of or clearance from the MRTP Commission is now required for setting up industrial units by the large business houses. To take an intense look through this act, it is seen that the act has been divided into four broad components. These are includes monopolistic practices, restrictive trade practices, unfair trade practices, concentration of economic power. The above first and fourth component were the primary focus of 1991 amendment. These two components were never given so much importance earlier. Those are monopolistic practices. This was an important issue in the area of trade. Monopolistic practice implies unnecessarily and unreasonably controlling the price of the commodity, paralyzing technological development, increasing the cost of production, and decreasing the competition in the world market. Next is concentration of economic power. This clearly implied the dominancy of a particular economic activity in the world scenario that could be detrimental for the global competitors. To curb such problems, the MRTP Act was launched. The basic doctrines can be summarized in the following manner. These include a restrictive trade practice RTP. This gives protection to the competition, checks the price discrimination, restricts areas for trade and enforces full line forcing. Unfair trade practices UTP. This is the protection towards destruction and duplicacy of goods, guarantee of product safety and bargaining sales. Monopolistic trade practice MTP. This includes the protection against monopolist and unreasonable price change. The MRTP Act is actually governed and taken care by MRTP Commission. Last is greater support to small scale industries. The new industrial policy seeks to provide greater government support to the small scale industries so that they may grow rapidly under environment of economic efficiency and technological upgradation. A package of measures announced in this context provides for setting up of an agency to ensure that credit needs of these industries are fully met. It also allows for equity participation by the large industries in the small scale sector not exceeding 24% of their total shareholdings. This has been done with a view to provide small scale sector and access to the capital market and to encourage their upgradation and modernization. The government also encouraged the production of parts and components required by the public sector industries in the small scale sector. So, this is the session which clearly understood that various dimensions of new industrial policy 1991 and their impact on business as well as economy.